I saw a post on LinkedIn today that really made me think. More than just the typical, you see a post that you think is interesting, you ruminate on it for a second, and then you move on. This one kind of hit me. It was about the fact that hospitality is broken. And the premise was that we all know instinctively, intuitively, those of us that have been in the industry for a long time, that there's something different about it now than when we came up. And all you have to do is go to a restaurant or a quick service spot or, frankly, a store, really anywhere. And more than likely, you will be left underwhelmed. Actually, do this as an exercise. The next time you go to a store to buy something, see if you can notice whether or not the person checking you out says thank you. I will bet they don't. I've been testing this myself for a couple of months now, and the thank yous are still on a single hand. When I was getting trained and coming up, you always ended every interaction with a thank you. And if it was the last interaction, an invitation to return. And that was just part of the scripting. You didn't not do it. It wasn't acceptable not to do it. So this post made me think about that, how interactions have become transactional rather than more warm and fuzzy or relationship based. So I wrote a comment on the post that I think the issue that we're dealing with has come down to two big buckets of issues. My name is Adam Knight. I'm the founder and CEO of Recreation Stays. We're a vacation rental and hotel management company based in Seattle, and we've got a footprint across the country. So my thesis in the response to the LinkedIn post is that the issues that we're dealing with have come down to two main reasons. The first is that we have been moving into a very short-term, what's the ROI or return on investment kind of an environment for the better part of 15 years now. And that's not necessarily anybody's fault. Over that time, you've seen a lot of investment money pour into the industry. You've seen boutique hotels and lifestyle brands really explode. A lot of smaller investors, smaller investment firms are coming in, which is different than some of the larger investment houses and hedge funds, investment groups that were dominating the industry maybe 20, 25 years ago. And the ROI discussion comes up because, frankly, it's really expensive to run a hospitality company. And it's a lot more expensive than I gave it credit for. When I was coming up in the luxury hotel space, I would see P&Ls. In fact, I would be doing and writing commentary for hotel owners every month. And I did that for years. I knew exactly how well the hotels were doing. But I never really internalized it, maybe because it wasn't my money. It was just a budget that we were working towards. But now that I have my own company, I can tell you it's really expensive. Labor's expensive, insurance is expensive, software is expensive. So it's reasonable to expect that the ROI discussion would weave its way in to just about everything at some point, because frankly, if you operate at a loss, you won't be around for very long. But I do think that that's chipped away at the soul of hospitality, because as one manager told me once, you're only as good as your last P&L. And the other issue that's come to mind, and this has become really quite salient in what we do every day, is pandering to reviews. And what I mean by that is that the OTAs have dialed in the review structure so finely that hospitality's become a little bit of theater. Everything that you do when only a 5-star review is acceptable. And let's be clear, prior to Airbnb in particular, who I think are probably most at fault here, a 4 out of 5 review was generally considered pretty good. Now, if you had an Airbnb listing in particular that had nothing but 4-star reviews, you would be delisted. You wouldn't be on the platform anymore. So that's turned into people performing for the algorithm to get 5-star reviews. Now, you might think that that would make hospitality better, but actually it has the reverse effect because you start standardizing the ask. You seed the 5-star review verbiage early in the interaction, and you do everything that you can do to try to avoid not getting a 5-star, meaning asking for private feedback offline, maybe being a little overly generous in compensation, and frankly, training your customer to expect nothing less than bending over backwards for them. And that has the effect over time that people get burned out and they get disinterested in doing the thing that should normally come naturally. You end up with this negative feedback loop going on. And those two things in particular have really taken it sort of out of the realm of joy or out of the realm of how it used to be. It might seem insurmountable, but I don't think it is. Actually, I think that this is a relatively easy solve. How do we get hospitality back on track? Well, one of the first ways to do it is taking your team out into the field and letting them experience with a different lens what great hospitality, great service looks like. And when employees get out and see it through that lens, they become a little bit more self-reflective. It helps them internalize their actions better because now they're seeing what the guest sees. That's the most valuable training that I ever received. And I would urge you to look at doing the same thing with your teams. I think the second thing that we can do is create internal feedback loops in your own business, giving kudos to one another. Now, if you're in a hotel, it might be a little bit easier because everybody's in one place, but you could do your daily lineup. You could do a team shout out. You can start recognizing people's effort, recognizing team members' efforts. It's not about you as the leader doing it. It's about the team members doing it with each other. So they start to see, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant an act might be, it creates a sense that everybody's got each other's back. You create that positive environment, you eventually get the flywheel going. And I think the last one, the ROI piece, which is maybe the most difficult to get around. But I had a general manager once say to an ownership group, I may not run the most profitable property, but I will run the number one guest loved property in your entire portfolio. And you know what? It was 100% true. And how we got there was through positive feedback loops and offsite training, among a few other things. But the culture was one of support and positivity and expecting that people did better. Praising when it mattered, praising when it was needed, training when it was needed. And honestly, if somebody was rowing the boat in the other direction, if you know that analogy, moving on from them and making sure that you were cultivating the right group of people with the right mindset, all going in the same direction. The hard part about ROI is that hospitality is very squishy. It can be really hard to get your arms around. You might know hard costs of systems and supplies and labor, but training is hard to quantify. Support amongst team members is hard to quantify. Culture can be very hard to quantify. But I'll tell you what, you know it when you see it, and you know when it's lacking. And even though you can't necessarily quantify when it's going well, if your numbers are down and you have tried everything under the sun to get them back, you may want to take a turn towards living and embodying the hospitality ethos from when we were coming up.